Hi everyone, welcome to Conversations with Khofane. I'm Khofane Modise, and this is the leadership series with Botswana Insurance Company. I'm joined by my good friend NJ. It's nice to call the CEO a good friend.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
A CEO.
I'm happy to be your good friend.
Thank you very much. So today we're talking about company culture or the workforce culture, which is, I'd say, the driving force behind every successful organization. So when you look at, or when you assess the company culture within BIC, how would you describe it and what role did you play in shaping it?
So like they say, culture eats strategy for breakfast.
That's true.
It's quite amazing that people tend to subconsciously follow what the leader does without them actually saying, "I want to follow what my leader is doing." So I think part of the process to inculcate a good culture is to make sure that you lead by example. There are certain values that are non-negotiables, like your integrity, how we conduct ourselves, how we handle our customers. There must be no no hesitance or gray areas as far as how you treat customers is concerned. We have created a culture of very open and very transparent sort of like environment where people are free to air their views, where people are free to exercise innovativeness and make errors and mistakes and understand that failure is part of the learning process. And it's not fatal when we fail. It's a step towards success. So we've created that environment where people are allowed to sort of like explore and really show their best in terms of what they can bring to the company in terms of their contribution. So I think to make sure that the culture is maintained, there's need for strong leadership. There's need for clarity on what happens if we follow our cultural or our values. There's rewards to that. There's collaboration. There's working together. But also when you cross the line and you don't follow, for example, integrity, you should know the implications and what then happens to you if you don't follow some of those important values like teamwork, integrity, collaboration and working together. So there's need for clarity from the top down.
Yes.
So you cascade those values and people need to be very clear that these values are non-negotiable. I think that's how we've managed to have a very interesting and very encouraging culture at BS.
Yeah, so I'm seeing that the workforce really, or primarily, is shaped by the leader. So if the leader is into personal development, then in one way or another, whether it's intentional or not, that will cascade down to.
Correct, and absolutely, because people tend to follow what their leaders do. That's why it's very important that that's why they say leaders the challenge is that you're not only at office between 8 and 5, but you're at office 24/7.
Yeah.
So what they mean by that is that you're expected to behave and conduct yourself in a particular manner because people are watching and your own people are watching. So you need to make sure that you conduct yourself in a manner that then speaks to what you communicate to your team. Otherwise, then they'll start doubting some of the things that you'll be communicating. So very high level for moral integrity is very important
Yes.
for sustaining a good culture. Yes.
I'm laughing now because I'm thinking of the fact that you've been talking about empathy, integrity, all these values that are such a core part of who you are and are now transcending as well to the organization at large. And so when we talk about culture, we're talking about the way of living.
Yes.
And so when we're talking about the way of living, we're also talking about environment, and that's the work environment.
Yes.
And I think for a while now, in recent years, a lot of people talk about toxic work environments.
Yes.
So we can't talk about company culture without talking about a work environment. So what is a toxic work environment and what is a healthy work environment?
I think the way I look at it is there are certain behaviors that we encourage for our business. There are certain behaviors that we discourage, that we actually anti-BIC, and we would not sort of like encourage them. And the repercussions are clear in terms of if you cross the line and do these things, this is what we do not want to see. So why we have values like teamwork, like collaboration, is so that, if I'm to work in underwriting and I have to collaborate with someone in claims or finance, it's clear that we have to collaborate. There's no other way.
Exactly.
And that encourages people to come to work and feel good to work for BIC.
Yeah.
But if I'm to first pray before I go to contact someone in finance or claims, then that to me creates a toxic environment where people now are not comfortable to share, they're not comfortable to challenge the status quo. And there's that lack of, psychological safety where people do not have the freedom to express themselves and actually challenge things that they feel could be done better. So once you create that toxic environment where leadership is not clear about the values, leadership is not clear about the behaviors that are encouraged, then in my view, that then encourages the opposite, which is a toxic environment. So you have to be very clear with what are the behaviors that are required for BIC. You can teach all the technical things like underwriting, paying claims, all that we can teach. But behavior is very difficult. It's not something like holding a phone and you put it down that we don't like this behavior. So that's why even in our hiring process, we are very keen on understanding someone's behavior. I think for certain levels going up now in our business, we made a decision that there will be no hiring without psychometric tests, so that we understand the behaviors and everything about someone. And that's part of the screening process to make sure that certain characteristics that are not aligned to our culture are not coming into BIC. So I think that's how I look at toxic and non-toxic environments.
And it's such an essential part because you could find that within the work environment, there's that one rotten potato that is infiltrating the oncoming heads, or even just, spreading little things that are anti-leadership.
I think with all the empathy and all the good things I talked about, one thing that I'm very clear about and known for is not keeping rotten apples in the basket. The moment I'm very clear that you're a rotten apple and you're messing up with the rest of the team, I do not hesitate to make sure that you're not part of the team.
No matter how talented you are.
Yeah. So, we hope you find another job.
Yeah, it's such an interesting concept as well, because I'm thinking now that an organization and just the workforce have to be a well-oiled machine.
100%.
And earlier you had spoken about, for you to be a leader, it's not about the authority or the name or the position, but it's the influence as well.
Yes.
And for you to be a leader, you have to first lead yourself.
Correct.
So within the workforce themselves, especially the young professionals and so on, and those who are going to be starting off, how can they learn the work culture? Is it something that happens naturally and organically, or should they make some effort to really adapt?
To be honest, the work culture doesn't just come naturally. You have to put time into workshops and seminars. We've got a lot of platforms where we share our values. Our website, all our media platforms, they've got values. We even bought a machine here that sort of like runs our values downstairs.
Oh, wow.
Electronic machine that shows our values all the time if you want to have a look or be reminded of what our values are. So it's sort of like, reminds people that there are these important values that we need to live with and that we need to, show or demonstrate as we execute our duties to the customers, to internal clients, to external stakeholders. Those values need to be part of your life, part of how you do things, and we need to be known for doing things in a particular way as BS. So unlike I know culture is a way of living, but it doesn't just come naturally. For business, it really has to be encouraged in a certain way. There are certain behaviors and mannerisms that we encourage in the business. Yes.
So beyond just, the seminars and everything like that, is that the most effective way of communicating what the culture is that you're trying to develop? Is that the most effective way that you've seen, or is it the most effective way the way the leader behaves and responds in crisis and so on?
I think it's both actually. So how you react as a leader, how you conduct yourself, how you demonstrate that you're walking the talk and stuff is very important. It's key to what people then believe in and how they conduct themselves. But for example, if you say that integrity is part of our values and someone then doesn't play that thing, that value, then the challenge you have is if you do nothing about it, then the rest of the team will be like, yeah, so it's okay to cross these values. I mean, to cross these lines and mess up with the values. So I think seminars also are important to sort of like remind people that this is
And get
how
feedback, I would
they
assume.
and get feedback from the people, how they would want to also be sort of like be appreciated when they do these things, because remember the diversity we have people coming from Zimbabwe, South Africa, here in Botswana and many other places. So these are already, and even in Botswana, from different corners of Botswana. So these are already different cultures, but there's a certain culture we want that sort of like should be smooth and unique for BIC, for us to be able to deliver the one thing, which is really giving our customers a great experience in
Right,
BIC. Yes.
right. And
Yes.
something that I also like that you said is making mistakes and how
Yes.
that's not, but these are guided mistakes,
Yes,
like you
yes,
said.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what would you say are the key elements that shape or really are the pillars of a healthy work environment and a healthy work culture, company culture?
I think the leadership needs to understand that people are humans. They're not machines. At the end of the day, even leaders are not perfect. We also make mistakes. We also make errors and stuff. So we need to create an environment where people are allowed to be innovative. People are allowed to show the best of themselves. People are allowed to explore and actually bring in new ideas and stuff. So to me, that's what makes a great team, a great family. Because at BIC here we have this thing that we are family, because we spend a lot of time here
Yeah.
together than at home. So I think it's the psychological safety that we create for our people that is key to their development, and encouraging people, of course, to learn and do new things. With all these advancements and technological changes, it's important for people to understand that you need to upskill yourself as well to remain relevant, and the team is our way, because we talk about these things that we all need to upgrade ourselves, we all need to continuously learn, and clearly the more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. And that's how just it is. I mean, if you start reading today about law, start reading today about technology, you realize that you've read more, but you realize how little you know.
You know, exactly.
So it's yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you reminded me of a quote by Richard Branson, and he says that a good leader empowers the workers or those under him to go out and find better opportunities, but a great leader motivates them to stay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a very delicate balance,
Yeah.
because first of all, the younger generation has no patience in staying
That's true.
in
Yeah.
the position for a long time. That I wait for promotion and then levels and what they're not interested in those things. But the beauty also is that they are flexible enough to understand that they could still, if you really need them, they could still contribute to your business, but out of your business, from outside. So I think leadership needs to understand that it's no longer about the brick and mortar offices that these young kids are interested in. They're interested in, are you appreciating my value?
Yes.
And if you are appreciating my value, how do you, sort of like pay for that value?
Yes.
And does it make sense to me? And is your purpose meaningful to me? And if it's not, then I have to look for something else. It's amazing how these days in interviews we are asked by interviewees that
Oh.
what is your purpose, and what value are you sort of like bringing to the communities you operate in, and these are the questions we never used to receive many years back.
Yeah.
But people are now asking those questions, like what is your purpose? What is the value in the community that you're creating? So you can see that the mentality and the thinking has significantly changed. Yeah.
And is there ever a time to transition? I mean, BIC has been at it for, what, 45 years now. But is there a time to say, okay, has been our culture, but it's time to maybe transition to something more modern or something more simple?
Yeah, I think if you look at even our branding has changed over the years. Every time you want to sort of like refresh the way you do things, refresh your look, refresh your culture as well, making sure that the culture that you inculcate is in line with the changes that are happening in your business environment. So I think it is important that culture, it also changes with the changings in the business environment. Yes.
Absolutely brilliant. What a brilliant mind you are.
Thank you. Thank you.
We hope you've been enjoying the series because I certainly am. Thank you so much for watching. We hope to see you next time.